Australia. Here's the Leeds team coming out now for the plaudits of the crowd. Quite a sparse crowd here at Headingley, considering two top teams. Anyway, I'll just go through the teams for you now. Saints first, of course. Number 1, Phil Vevers. 2, Kevin McCormick. 3, Sean Allen. Play anywhere, Sean Allen. Number 4, Paul Loughlin. 5, David Tanner. 6, Shane Cooper. 7, Mark Bailey. 8, Tony Burke. 9, Mark Lee. 10, Stuart Evans. 11, Paul Farber. 12, Roy Haggerty. 13, Bernard Dwyer. With 14 for Saints, David Large, and 15, John Fieldhouse. The Leeds team, number 1, Gary Spencer. 2, Carl Gibson. 3, Gary Schofield. 4, Dave Stevenson. 5, John Bassett. 6, Cliff Lyons. 7, Ray Ashton. 8, Lee Crooks. 9, Colin Maskill. 10, Hugh Waddell. 11, Roy Powell. 12, Mark Brooke Cowden. 13, David Heron. Substitutes for Leeds, number 14, Paul Medley, and 15, Sam Backle. So Lee Crooks out there, centre field. Captain for Leeds, with Saints captain Shane Cooper. Lee Crooks tosses the coin. The referee for today's match, Mr. Tennant. Both teams changing round. So Saints are playing from the clubhouse end down to the electric scoreboard, which I hasten to add isn't working today. And as you can see, the state of the pitch here at Headingley, very poor condition, I would say, for a top-class club. Perhaps they're saving electric on the scoreboard, and it looks as though by the state of the pitch they're going to sell it off in foot squares. But anyway, it's Leeds to kick off. Schofield gets the game underway. Sean Allen takes it, drives upfield towards the 25. Solid tattle in there. Lee Crooks, that looks like, quickly in at the tattle. But Saints just on their own 25. On to Tony Burke. Steaming forward, Roy Powell and David Heron quickly in there for Leeds. Mark Lee, attacking half-back, brings it back to Paul Loughlin for the kick upfield. He dummies past one Loughlin, but Powell it was, he completes the tackle. Closing down very quickly. Back to Vevers. Now for the kick upfield. Lofty kick from Vevers. John Bassett there. Well, we'll leave that to, but Bassett in possession. He's coming across from his own left wing position over to the right. Taken down by Mark Bailey. Roy Haggerty in there at the tattle, but it's Leeds in possession. On to Lee Crooks. Crooks, one of Leeds' £1,000 buys, multi-£1,000. He came from Hull with Gary Schofield as well. Hugh Waddell, recently signed for £95,000. Well, a £95,000 deal. But Leeds moving it quickly to the left. Gary Spencer linking up in the back division. Lovely quick loop movement there, but Leeds couldn't get away. Saints tackling holds firm. Well, a big cheer from the Leeds crowd, but he got nowhere. That man Tony Burke quickly in there, and Bernard Dwyer, also Stuart Evans in at the tattle. Back to Cliff Lyons, this Australian lad making his own debut. Vevers well under it, takes it well. Mark Bailey does well as give Vevers a little bit of protection. But it's Saints in possession in their own 25. Short ball inside to Farber. Flicks it back inside to Stuart Evans. Evans looking to release, but solid tackling from the Leeds outfit. Farber now. Mark Lee brings it blindside onto Mark Bailey. Shows the dummy, tries to go inside. Leeds move up very quickly. Banging to ground. Lee attacked in half-back. The ball back to Loughlin. Ray Ashton tries to charge it down, but lofty kick from Loughlin. In the Leeds 25, it's Spencer. Quickly closed down there. Shane Cooper up there with Sean Allen. But throw back to half-back. Stevenson going away, but Saints are penalised for moving up into an offside position at the play of the ball. Got the first penalty of today's game, going Leeds' way. After just 3 minutes, Gary Schofield, 10 yards infield. Finds touch about 5 yards inside the Saints half. Leeds to restart. Stu Waddell bursting through, but solid tackling from the Saints there, but the far side touch judge is on. Stuart Evans being spoken to by referee Tennant. Well, Hugh Waddell coming through at full pace, and you've got to get these men down. At the first tackle, referee Tennant indicating there a punch was thrown. So Leeds get another penalty. Well, Crooks coming through there, first receiver, but the ball not played. Leeds play it now. On to Waddell. Had a good game in the Test series in Australia, Waddell. He was only brought into the Test side for the third Test, but he proved his worth. Mark Brooke-Cowden, New Zealand player there, in possession for Leeds. On to David Heron. Short ball onto Lee Crooks. Flicks it out initially for Carl Gibson, but David Tanner quickly in there. Saw the loose ball. Well down on it. Stuart Evans now coming away from the dummy half position. Well, Leeds moving up very quickly on the referee's left, but he doesn't notice it this time, and it's Tony Burke, still stood up, looking to release. But Leeds coming in numbers. Mark Lee to get the Saints going. Brings it to the right. Roy Haggerty. Beats one. Looking to release Haggerty. The ball's loose. Mark Bailey kicks it on. But Leeds now, the full-back Gary Spencer comes in, drops on the loose ball. Haggerty and Farber both back to full fitness after being out with injury. Farber for the last match at Widnes and Roy Haggerty for the last two matches. They certainly have increased pace with both this second row duo back in the Saints ranks today. But it's Leeds still in possession. Just 5 yards in the Saints half. Lyons throws an awkward ball out to Gary Schofield. Gives the dummy, but Tanner does well, takes him round the legs. Loughlin completes the tackle round the top, and Ray Ashton at dummy half. Inside to Mark Brooke-Cowden. Just stands up out of the tackle, but Cooper had his legs there. Takes a knock in the head, does Shane Cooper. Schofield kicks upfield, the ball not in touch. Well, unlucky there, very unlucky there. The ball didn't go in touch. David Tanner just put a foot in touch. Very unlucky, but the pitch, as you can see there, in abominable condition. For a top club like Leeds, I would say it's a disgrace. Anyway, the first scrum of the match. 10 yards from the Saints line. It's going to be a Leeds feed. Ray Ashton. It's a feed for Leeds. It comes out Leeds side. Ashton receives the ball, takes it left to Lyons. Schofield into space. Loughlin's chasing him. Completes the tackling. Super tackle from Loughlin. The gap opened up for Schofield, but it's Leeds now putting on the pressure. Beavers comes in to complete the tackle. Lyons flicks it inside to Ashton. Leeds man offside there, looks like Waddell. Climbing up with the Saints there, and the referee's doing nothing about it, but the touch judge is on at this side, but players allowed to go on. The ball's loose. Haggerty picks it up, but game's going to be stopped. Well, it's not. Gibson's in possession for Leeds. The touch judge has been on about a minute now. Referee allowed play to go on. He must have took notice of the touch judge. So what action he's going to take? He's speaking to Paul Farber. Obviously it's going to result in a penalty to Leeds. Or is he going to allow play to go on? Oh, Tony Burke is ringing out. Stuart Evans. Well, bringing Stuart Evans out again. For what reason? I've no idea. We was watching the ball. The play was allowed to go on. Well, going in with a short arm jab indicated by referee Tennant there. So as I said, Leeds received the penalty. Kickable position, David Stevenson next, Wigan centre, stepping up to see if he can open the scoring in today's match. So just 7.5 minutes gone of the game so far. Leeds receiving 3 penalties. This is the first kickable one. Well, from a kickable position, about 20 yards out and 10 yards to the right of the sticks. So it's unlucky last week at Widnes, a terrible first half, but they came back in the second half finally losing out 32 points to 24. Certainly come back in the second half, but let a couple of soft tries in and went out at the first hurdle of the Lancashire Cup. For it's David Stevenson, prolific goal scorer with Wigan and with Leeds. Stepping up now, see if we can get the first points on the board. No, takes it to the left of the sticks. Well, they're not getting much easier than that, and international centre should be able to pop those over, no problem. But Leeds are going to get the ball back. It's safe to drop out from the centre of the 25-yard line. Paul Loughlin to restart. Deep kick from Loughlin. Roy Powell stops it with his foot, gathers it safely. Good lad, this Powell, tremendous second row runner. Tackling's the name of the game, and you've got to get these runners down at the first hurdle. Hugh Waddell coming through there, but Tony Burke, Bernard Dwyer and Mark Bailey quickly in there. As Leeds spread it to the left. Ray Ashton onto Mark Brooke-Cowden, feet it inside. Gary Spencer, I think that was, linking up with the backs. Back for the kick to Lee Crooks. Diagonal kick, and Beavers has to turn round, but he shouldn't have any problem in gathering this. Well, play's allowed to go on. He did catch it before it hit the ground. It flicked up in the air. The referee there spotted it well, where this near side touch judge seemed in favour of giving a knock on, but play allowed to go on. Did well there, Beavers, with a very awkward ball. Tony Burke now. Saints still pegged in their own 25. Mark Lee takes it right to Roy Haggerty. Looking for space, Haggerty taking it over there to the Saints right wing. But Mark Bailey switches play over to the left. Bernard Dwyer tries to straighten up Bernard Dwyer and go through, but solid tackling Powell and Heron, I think it was. No, the hooker Maskell. Paul Loughlin creating a little bit of space for himself, lobs it over to the main stand side, but it goes in on the full. So it must have been on the sixth tackle. So it's going to constitute the changeover from the position where the ball was kicked. It's Maskell, hooker at the acting half-back position. Lee Crooks is going to play the ball. Leeds in possession, 6 tackles for them to perhaps penetrate the Saints line, and they're in the Saints 25, just 15 yards from the Saints try line. Maskell again, bringing it blindside onto Crooks, goes infield, solid tackling there. Stuart Evans takes the man round the legs. Paul Farber comes in to complete the tackle. Ashton, David Heron straightens up, solid tackle from Dwyer. Loose ball and Saints drop on. So play allowed to go on, is it? Well, Saints have been awarded the penalty. It's Paul Loughlin now in his own 25, kicking over here to our commentary position, just finds touch midway between the Saints 25 and the halfway. Mark Lee, first man Tony Burke, coming blindside. Maskell, first man in, takes him round the legs, and Lee Crooks comes over the top. Mark Lee onto Stuart Evans. Hugh Waddell and Maskell in again with Crooks. Mark Lee. Bernard Dwyer. Dwyer looking for the gap as Leeds move up very quickly over there on the left. Roy Haggerty, strong runner, turns inside. Beavers coming up following Haggerty through, but he couldn't release the ball. Good smother tackle from Leeds. Shane Cooper. Awkward ball, but it comes out. Farber onto Bailey, onto Loughlin, overlap here. Loughlin stretching his legs, still going. Tanner is inside, blitz it to Tanner, but he's charged down. The Leeds man goes back for the ball. So Leeds are in possession, very unlucky there, Saints. But Leeds knocking the ball down. He coming back towards their own line. He managed to regather it, but it's the first time Saints have been anywhere like in the Leeds half. Just hope they can hold Leeds in their own 25 for the changeover and regain possession. It's Carl Gibson. Brought down just outside, 10 yards outside his own line. Brooke-Cowden, I think that is second row for Leeds. And it's the last tackle of this set of 6. Up to Schofield. Lofty kick. Kevin McCormack takes it safely. Comes in for McCormick, beats one, just gets over the halfway line. David Heron takes him down. Cooper, the general, takes it left to Paul Farmer. 10 yards inside the Leeds half. Farmer plays it to himself, looks for support, gets it off Sean Allen. Leeds man took a knock there at the last play of the ball. It's Cooper, slips through Cooper's hands, but it goes back onto Haggerty. Looks for support, onto Stuart Evans. Forward pass being ruled by referee Tennant, right on the job there. Leeds temporarily down to 12 men. Player receiving treatment just inside the Leeds half. So scrum down midway between the Leeds 25 and the halfway line with Ray Ashton to feed. Leeds taking the scrums now 2-0 onto Cliff Lyons. Ashton attacked in half-back. Onto Brooke Cowden, but he releases it to Spencer, linking up with the backs. Ashton at dummy half. Leeds trying to bring it right, but Saints tackling, holding firm. 14 minutes of the game gone, no score. The ball back to Crooks for the kick upfield. Diagonal kick, but Phil Vivers, well, lost it that time. Very unlucky, very slippy ball there. Slight drizzle, but very unlucky there. Looks as though he had full control, but slipped through his fingers, constituting the knock-on. So it's a scrum down just outside the Saints 25. Well, obviously problems with that ball. So fresh one coming onto the pitch. Whether there was anything up with the ball at all, we don't know. But Ashton feeds and Leeds come up with the ball onto Cliff Lyons. Ashton at dummy half. Powell. Powerful second row. Don't make much impression there. Bernard Dwyer quickly in at the tackle. Good tackler. Dwyer gets through some tackling in the match. Lee Crooks powers his way through, but he meets Tony Burke and Stuart Evans, and Evans bangs him to the ground. Heron. Short ball onto Brooke Cowden. Haggerty and Cooper bring him down. Leeds bring it blindside onto Hugh Waddell. Brought down on the Saints 25. Strong running forward this Waddell. Last tackle for Leeds. Maskill onto Ashton. Leeds taking it left. Overlap on the left there. Number 4 Stevenson. Still going onto Powell. Can he power in at the corner? No, it's the last tackle. Brilliant tackling defence display there from St Helens. Overlap on the left for Leeds, 2-man overlap, and Saints just closed it down. Powell coming through, powering his way through, but he was stopped. Saints come up with the ball, but have lost it in the tackle. Leeds back on the attack, over to Gary Schofield. Loughlin will have to take Schofield, he loses his footing. Loughlin's in at the corner. No mistake in this time. Schofield, I beg your pardon, was in at the corner. Paul Loughlin unfortunately losing his footing. It enabled Schofield to scoot through the gap, and he touches down in this right-hand corner. So Gary Schofield, the poacher as he's known, touches down about 5 yards in from this near side touchline. Saints did well over there on the far side, right by the clubhouse. Hell Leeds out, but from the changeover they brought it forward. Unfortunately, one of the Saints players, Bernard Dwyer, had not lost the ball in the tackle. Must be still slippy out there. Leeds picked it up quickly, spread it to the right, and Schofield doing his little shimmy, and Paul Loughlin lost his footing with Cal Gibson on his outside, but he goes in for a try and tries to convert it. Looks good, coming in field, yes. Schofield, tremendous kick, just 5 yards in from the touchline, puts Leeds 6 points to 0 in the lead. Well, That's brought the Leeds contingent to life, but Saints will have to hit back now quickly and silence them. So Loughlin now kicks it deep. Carl Gibson, first receiver. Coming centre field. Runs straight into Bernard Dwyer, bangs him down. 10 yards short of the 25 line onto Roy Powell. Trying to power his way through, but Saints half-back pairing of Cooper and Bailey quickly in there. Leeds still in possession. Second row forward, Haggerty and Farber finally bring him to ground. Maskell back to Crooks, but he knocks on. Got 3 or 4 tackles and the ball usually back to the recognised kicker. Crooks that time, but he knocked on. So it's a scrum just 10 yards outside the Leeds 25. It's a Saints feed. Leeds tidying up on the scrums by 3-0 at present. But it's Mark Bailey now, standing in for Neil Holding out with an injury. Saints go up with the ball. Bailey takes it to Sean Allen. Looking for support, Allen, but nobody there. Manages to go a few yards further forward. Mark Lee onto Bernard Dwyer. Saints coming left. Dwyer takes the tackle of Heron and Waddell, I think it was. Tony Burke powering his way forward. Mark Lee on his outside, couldn't release the ball that time. Well, surely a penalty, yes. Ray Ashton there and Powell lying on Tony Burke in his efforts to get up and play that ball. So a chance now for Saints to open the scoring. Paul Loughlin stepping up, David Large, Saints back substitute, coming on as Sandman. And certainly a chance for Paul Loughlin to reduce the deficit. Just trailing by 6 points to 0. That Gary Schofield trying goal over here in the right-hand corner in the 17th minute. Certainly broke quick from the Saints' mistake and certainly capitalised on it. 6 points to Leeds. Saints 0. Paul Loughlin already kicked 18 goals so far this season. Steps up well. Takes it to the right. So no goal. So Leeds are forced to drop out from the centre of the 25-yard line. It's Cliff Lyons. Bernard Dwyer takes it, awkward bouncing ball, takes it upfield. Bernard Dwyer, 10 yards, nearly 10 yards I should say, into the Leeds half. Mark Lee brings it left. Tony Burke, diagonal run from Burke. Powell has him round the legs, and Ashton completes the tackle round the chest. Stuart Evans. Saints have to spread it out to the wings. Most of the play being taken in centre field. Shane Cooper. Well, a crossing movement rule there by referee Tennant. He's giving all sorts of signals there. He'd make a good tic-tac man at Aintree, wouldn't he, with all these signals. I'm sure everybody in the crowd doesn't know what he's on about, but obviously he does. But Schofield kicks the touch from that penalty awarded by referee Tennant. Leeds fine touch just outside the Saints 25. As Leeds to restart, Hugh Waddell powering his way towards the Saints line. Maskell attacked in half-back. Ashton on his right. Onto Cliff Lyons, short ball to Powell. Awkward rangy customer this Powell, but Haggerty and Dwyer bring him down. David Heron into Lee Crooks, back to Heron. Runs into the reception committee of Cooper and Farber. Leeds taking it left. Lyons, well, if that's not obstruction, he just penalised us for obstruction there. Centre field. Spencer linking up, but he's brought down short. Blatant obstruction, centre field, but it's Leeds still in possession. Lyons loses the ball, but back to Maskell. Last tackle of this set of 6 for Leeds. 15 yards from the Saints try line. On to Lyons now. Crossfield kick through, but it's going to go dead, is it? Yes, Beavers has to kick it dead. Awkward ball, and you can see Phil Beavers there. Nearly lost his footing right by the baseline, just behind the dead ball line. Looked too far from Cliff Lyons, but obviously a well flighted kick, forcing Saints to drop out from under their own sticks. So Leeds forced to make an early substitution with David Stevenson going off and Paul Medley coming on. Leeds received the ball from the dropout. Saints forced to drop out with Philby was kicking it dead onto Mark Brooke-Cowden. Farber quickly in there, bounces him to the ground. Maskill from acting half-back, feeds it inside. Solid tackling from the Saints. Got a hold out this Leeds side, 10 yards from the Saints line now. He's looking to open up onto Powell. Short ball from Cliff Lyons onto Powell. Referee right there on the job, and a good tackle from Tony Burke, a good shoulder charge on Roy Powell. I don't know whether the referee is actually speaking with him, but referee Tennant right on the job. Roy Powell receiving treatment 10 yards from the Saints line. So I would imagine players just carry on. Powell will just play the ball. Not whether the penalty has actually been awarded. Obviously the Leeds physio, they're doing a bit of mouthing to referee Tennant. It looks as though he was telling him to just watch what he's saying, but he has awarded the penalty. Yes, there it goes, indicating a slap on the face. So it's Gary Schofield hoping to extend Leeds' lead by a further 2 points, already leading by 6 points to 0. 25 minutes of this first half gone. Certainly a tight game. Most of the game being played in the Saints 25 really. Saints only been in the Leeds half a couple of times. And it's Schofield now. Yes, right between the sticks. No problem for Schofield. International centre and certainly a wily character. Paul Loughlin to restart. Kick deep. I think that's substitute Medley. It's taking the ball. Yes, it is. Medley is over here on the right wing. Perhaps he's partnering Gary Schofield. It looks as though Carl Gibson's gone into the left centre position. Hugh Waddell coming through. Flicks the ball up. Well taken there by Spencer, the full-back, but Mark Lee did well there. He tapped his ankles. Certainly was in space. Onto Cliff Lyons. Pushes one tackle off. Comes forward. Onto Brooke-Cowden, I think that is. Brought down 10 yards outside the Saints 25. Lyons, little chip kick through. Can he gather the ball? He does, but Dwyer, well, brilliantly taken that ball there from Brooke-Cowden. Must have had glue on his hands for that, but it's Leeds on the attack. Loose ball, tidied up by David Heron. Flicks it out, still going. The ball's up in the air, up and under. Well, Leeds penalised there. I think it's Spencer, the full-back, adjudged to be in an offside position. Either an offside position or hounding the Saints player in his efforts to get that ball from the up and under. Yes, it was Spencer that was penalised, and Loughlin pushed the ball over to touch. Lines touch 10 yards from the halfway line, so it's Saints back in possession. Tony Burke powering his way through. Leeds reception committee, obviously something in that tackle. Lee Crook's been spoken to. Not recognised for being very tactful, Crooks, in the tackle, but he did something untoward there and is duly penalised for it. So Paul Loughlin gaining further yardage for the Saints. Finds touch just 10 yards outside the Leeds 25. Stuart Evans first man in, and Leeds are penalised again for encroaching in the play the ball position. 2 penalties in quick succession. Saints elect to run it. Obviously a try and a goal is needed to bring the Saints back into contention. Mark Bailey, Shane Cooper feeds it back to Mark Bailey, sees the gap, tries to go through, still stood up, finally brought down by Ray Ashton after Schofield brought him down by the legs. Saints bring it blindside. Paul Farber looking for support on the right, but I think it's Maskill that brings him down. No, it's Brooke Cowden it was, but Bailey. Powell did well, brought the man down as Bailey was trying to get the ball out. Mark Lee inside to Stuart Evans. Flicks the ball up to Bailey. Running down on one knee, the referee says. Out to David Tanner. Has to come in field. Flicks it to Roy Haggerty. Looking for support, Haggerty. Leeds come up in numbers. It's the last settle for Saints of this set of 6. Back to Phil Beavers. Hoisting up and under. Beavers under it. Still on the last tackle. He releases it. Lofted ball from Mark Lee. Taken well by Sean Allen. Flicks it back to Paul Farber. Saints can see the urgency. Farber lofts it up and under. Spencer under it there. Takes it, but Farber goes in for the tackle. It's Leeds on their own line. Medley coming away from the active half-back position. Beavers trying to replace his boots. He throws it away, goes in for the tackle. On to Hugh Waddell. Bounced to the ground, not unceremoniously by Stuart Evans, Mark Lee and Tony Burke there at the tackle. Good ball there onto Cliff Lyons. Made a gap in the Saints defence. Brute Cowan onto the Carl Gibson, playing over on the left centre, but he puts it to ground, and Saints are back on the attack with Roy Haggerty. Sees the gap, tries to scoot through it, but Leeds quickly move up there. Marley from active half-back. Lofted ball, tidied up by Stuart Evans. I think it's Mark Lee taking a knock over there on the far side, but Saints still in possession. On to Mark Bailey. Knocked down by the Leeds man. It should be another 6 tackles. Cooper picks it up. Well, not indicated by referee Tennant. Bernard Dwyer into space. Well, the last tackle signified now. I think the slate should have been wiped clean as that was knocked down by a Leeds man, but Haggerty grubbers through to touch. Good grubber kick from Roy Haggerty. Just penetrates the Leeds 25. That was on the last tackle. Just 31 minutes of this first half gone. The score still 8-0 in Leeds' favour. All Leeds points being scored by Gary Schofield. A try and a goal and a penalty conversion. Leeds are penalised there for feeding. So Saints now just tidying up on the penalties, taking them by 5-4. Beavers kicks for touch, finds touch midway between the Leeds try line and the 25. Quick play the ball from Mark Lee onto Stuart Evans, coming through at pace. Essential now that Saints make it count this time. Driving towards this Leeds line, onto Tony Burke. Less than 10 yards now. Plan move here, essential for the Saints. Matt Bailey. Cooper, loop movement now with Farber. Puts the gap, opens wide. Farber drives for the line. Brought down 5 yards short. Brilliant move from Cooper there. He sent the Leeds defence the wrong way, and Farber nearly went in. Dwyer onto Cooper. Short ball to Beavers, but it's intercepted by Lyons, I think. Bailey's chasing him. Lyons streaming away. McCormick's coming over from this other wing. Can Lyons be caught? No, he's going to score. Lyons touches down 10 yards in from this right-hand touchline. Interception there by Cliff Lyons, and he outpaced the Saints defence. Well, a big cheer goes up. Cliff Lyons, this Australian import, goes the full length of the field just as Saints seemed as though they was going to score. He intercepted it. Of course, all Saints had to turn round. Mark Bailey was chasing him. Kevin McCormick had to come through from the opposite wing to see if he could catch him, but he couldn't really make much impression on this Australian half-back, and he opens his try-scoring account for the Leeds club. Saints further behind, 12 points to nil now, with a similar position conversion attempt from Gary Schofield, who's successful with the one from his own try. That looks good from here. Yes, brilliant kicking from Schofield. Puts Saints trailing by 14 points to nil. Similar position to last week at Widnes. Saints trailing by 22 points to nil at half-time. Farber kicks off. Knock on, but the ball was into touch. Obviously, plan move there. Farber trying to jolly his men up. Obviously, a deflated ego at present, but he's got to try and inject some pace into this Saints side. Ball Lachlan looks as though he's going to kick off, but Farber kicked it over there to the main stand side. Leeds come up with the ball. Brought down just outside their own 25. Quick play the ball. Heron onto Gibson. Back to Powell. Beavers comes in for the tackle. Takes Powell down right in front of us here. Schofield at dummy half. Leeds taking it left. Heron onto Hugh Waddell. Strong running Waddell, but Bailey brings him down. He just gets up to go further, and Mark Lee completes the tackle. Up to hint of a knock on there at that play the ball, but the play's allowed to go on. Maskill onto Ashton, onto Cliff Lyons. Forward pass there, surely. Yes, forward pass given. It was a mile forward that. Held his pass too long there, did Cliff Lyons. Onto Roy Powell. The idea was right, but he just didn't do it right. So it's a scrum down midway between the Saints 25 and the halfway line. Mark Bailey to feed. Saints come up with the ball. Only Saints' second clean scrum hook in this match. But Saints bend it to the right, onto Bernard Dwyer. Just 5 minutes remaining of this first half. Saints trailing by 14 points to nil. Paul Farber running straight and true upfield, but solid tackling from Leeds to bring him down. Lead for Saints, over to Haggerty. Still going, Haggerty flicks the ball out to Sean Allen. Not been in the game much, Sean Allen. Most of the play from the Saints been centre field. Cooper. Short ball to Bernard Dwyer, looking for support. Onto Mark Bailey, but Lyons offside there, the man. Not getting back on side as Saints play the ball. Just taking a knock in the tackle. Snaps that loose ball up. Onto Schofield. Kick and chase. Well, nothing in that. He run right into Stuart Evans there. Well, the referee gives a penalty for that. Outrageous. Well, disgraceful. You've only got to look at that again on the video and you can see Schofield definitely played for that. The idea was right, all the Saints lying up, and he tried to chip over the head and then he run right into Stuart Evans. Nothing in that at all. But he's cutting the referee again, and Leeds are awarded the penalty. Now, you know what they say about this man Tennant? It's same as the advert on the telly. He's good, but not that good. But we've got to put up with him. He's awarded the penalty. Schofield stepping up. He's already kicked 3 this afternoon. Certainly an easier position than his last 2. Schofield steps up. No, he takes it to the right. No goal. But he doesn't go dead. Beavers gathers it. Comes away. Phil Beavers breakthrough 2 tackles. Gives the dummy. David Tanner went inside. But Beavers had to take the tackle. Paul Farber now, blindside. Releases the ball. Taken by Stuart Evans. Driving upfield. Well, Crook's in there. Referee wipes the slate clean. Infringement there at the play of the ball. Waddell hooking at the play of the ball, not allowing Saints to play it cleanly, so Leeds are penalised. Hefty kick from Lachlan. Finds touch just over 10 yards inside the Leeds half. Mark Lee, Tony Burke, first receiver, comes blindside. Makes a valuable 10-15 yard run, does Tony Burke. On to Stuart Evans, 2 forward drives from the Saints and then spread it out. Matt Lee. Barber, back to Matt Lee. Short ball onto Cooper. Onto Roy Haggerty, does well, juggles with the ball, but manages to grasp it. Obviously, awkward, slippy ball. And Brute Cowden penalised. Shane Cooper takes the penalty very quickly. Quick hands from from Saints. Onto Sean Allen. The Saints now on the attack. Bernard Dwyer looking for the gap. Just manages to get through, but Maskill brings him down. Mark Lee inside to Roy Haggerty. Maskill again. Leeds being urged back by referee Tennant. Saints bring it left. Farber and Bailey work the loop movement. Farber looking for the gap. Inside to Phil Vevers, creating space. On to Bernard Dwyer. Inside to Vevers. Cooper looming on his left, but he couldn't release it. Good tackle from Powell on Vevers, but Saints putting the pressure on now. Tony Burke. Steaming forward. Out to Mark Bailey. Last tackle for Saints now. They've got to run it. Going to try and penetrate this Leeds line. Cooper. Haggerty. Sees the gap. On to Bernard Dwyer. Is he over? Must be brought down inches short. And it's the change over. Well, good play from Saints there, but just equally good tackling from Leeds. Obviously smothered Bernard Dwyer in his efforts to dive over. Medley now from acting half back, coming away. Loughlin takes him down. Good run from Medley. Plays it to himself. On to Bernard Dwyer. Tanner brings him down, but he's still free is Medley. Haggerty finally comes in to complete the tackle. Get up and play it. Referee tells Medley, but it's Leeds still in possession. David Heron, I think that is, brought down just outside their own 25. Ray Ashton, on to Lee Crooks. Leeds taking it left. Lofted ball there, very unlucky. Does well, Spencer. And the chase is on. Kevin McCormack, can he gather it? The play allowed to go on there. Passed it over the top, but the far side touch judge is on. Referee Tennant right on the job, and he awarded nothing, but the far side touch judge, the yellow flag, has awarded Leeds a penalty. Obviously some infringement, perhaps it was fast and going in, but from that Saints play the ball in possession. Kevin McCormack loses possession. There's the half-time hooter. Just played a minute of stoppage time. So the half-time score here at Headingley, that certainly went quick, didn't it? 14 points to Leeds. Saints no score, only one possible scoring chance from a penalty conversion, and nearly scored in the far left-hand corner here, but Lions intercepted it, putting Leeds further in the lead. So as I said, 14 points to 0, the half-time score. With you now at Headingley for the second half of the Stones Bitter League clash. Saints on the wrong end of a 14 points to 0 scoreline. No substitutes for the Saints in the first half. None at half time, as I can see. Leeds, they made a 23rd minute substitution with number 14 Paul Medley coming on for number 4 David Stevenson. No further substitutions at half time. So certainly a short break at half-time. Just about 6 or 7 minutes they've been off the ground. Referee Tennant are now just checking with his touch judges. Paul Loughlin to get the game underway. And away we go. Loughlin kicks it deep, right into Medley's stomach. But he breaks through the first line of tackling. Phil Vevers stops him. Loughlin completes the tackle, but good break from Medley there. Shown quite a bit of pace since coming on as substitute for David Stevenson. Crooks bundled to the ground. He did lose the ball. It came back, but he managed to gather it there. Oh, it's Leeds in possession. Hugh Waddell brought down centre field. Bailey and Cooper bounce him down. Obviously a stern team talk at half time. from Alex Murphy. Cliff Lyons. Haggerty has him, brings him down, hauls him down. Spencer for Leeds at the acting half-back position. Onto Gary Schofield. Lofted kick, but it's in on the full. Yes, a misjudged kick from Gary Schofield there. In on the full. So it's a scrum down just about 5 yards inside the Leeds half. First scrum of the second half, with the Leeds tidying up 4-2 in the first half. But Saints shoot the ball, but Lyons, I think it is, or is it Ashton? Ashton it is, manages to get the loose ball at the back of the scrum. Ray Ashton from the acting half-back position. Spreads it left. On to David Heron, change of direction, he goes in field. Maskell now, acting half-back. Takes it right to Lyons. Lee Crooks on his right. Feeds it inside to Brute Cowden, to Roy Powell. Leeds still in possession, just penetrates the Saints 25. Saints defence will have to hold out here. Leeds spreading it very quickly. Cliff Lyons. Short ball there, well short, missed time ball, but Carl Gibson tidies up Cooper as his man. Cooper does well there, grabbed his jersey, looks as though Gibson was going to hand him off, but he stuck to his task well, Shane Cooper, Saints captain, and the Leeds bring it blindside. On to Crooks, he grubbers for touch. Kevin McCormick came off his knees. Just can't do anything right today, Kevin McCormick. But the ball came off his knees there. Definitely not a knock-on, but referee Tennant ruled so. There's a scrum down just outside the Saints 25. Ashton to feed, Leeds shoot the ball. Basnick coming in field. Breaks through Cooper's tackle onto Schofield. Lofted pass, taken well by Spencer. Overlap for Leeds, but Spencer comes in field. Yes, he touches down. Well worked move there from the base of the scrum here. It was 10 yards outside the Saints 25. And Leeds power over for another score. Gary Spencer there, Leeds full back, linking up well with his back division. Some good handling there from Leeds. It just happens that when the luck's with you, the ball sticks to your hands, and when it's against you, it always seems to go to ground. But they did well there. Schofield lobbing a pass out there, and anyway, Spencer latching on the end of it. He touched down to the right of the posts. So it's Schofield attempting to convert this try. Yes, does well Schofield. Converts that Spencer try, so Leeds now 20 points to 0 in the lead. Both Saints substitutes warming up there on the far side. Obviously Alex Murphy wants to inject some pace into this side, and both Stuart Evans and Kevin McCormick being substituted, with David Large coming on and John Fieldhouse. So both substitutions being allowed to take place. John Fieldhouse had a good run out in the A-team Friday night against Leeds at Nosey Road. Saints running out winners by 18 points to 16. Been plagued with a lot of knee injury ever since he came to Nosey Road. John Fieldhouse, a succession of knee operations. And from what we can gather on specialist information, he's back to full fitness. It's Leeds in possession. Waddell bursting through. Bernard Dwyer into the tackle. Maskell attacked in half-back. On to Brute Cowden. Cooper and Bailey bring him to ground, but it's Leeds. Back to Crooks for the kick up field. Fieldhouse closing him down. Beavers gathers it, flicks it up to David Tanner. Tries to come cross field, but Lyons and Ashton, half-back pairing for Leeds, bounce him to the ground on the Saints 25. Paul Loughlin now. We do with a bit of Loughlin inspiration. We all know when the Saints beat Leeds at Wigan in the John Player Trophy final. Certainly Loughlin, man of the match. He's in possession now. Streaking through. Fieldhouse on his left. Beaver's on field out his left, but he couldn't release the ball. But there was just saying about Paul Loughlin, and he heard through the gap there. Barber. Well, Bassett intercepts, flicks it up to Carl Gibson. But David Large quickly in there, he did well. With Bassett, acting half-back for Leeds. He's spreading it right. Crooks onto Lyons, Cliff Lyons. Overlap there. Schofield zipping through. Bailey tries to tap his out. Inside to number 40, Paul Medley. He's going to go in behind the sticks. Unopposed. Quick break again from Leeds. A full 60-yard movement there from Leeds. And Paul Medley finishing off, touching down behind the sticks. Paul Medley finishing off in fine style there. Schofield again on the far side. Medley is wingman, and Leeds breaking so quickly, as Widnes did last week, and putting another nail in the Saints' coffin. So Schofield now, surely just a formality to tag on the conversion points. Schofield now lining up, no problem, slots it right between the sticks. 26 points to nil now, Saints on the end of a severe drubbing. And just 7 minutes of this second half gone. Well, Sam Bacco, forward substitute for Leeds, just coming on, I think, for the hooker, Colin Maskill. I think that was the number that was held up. But slamming Sam Bacco, as he's known. Tremendous front row forward from the Canberra Raiders club. International Pac-Man has his first touch of the ball. Saints quickly in there to bang him down. They can't actually get him to ground. But it's Leeds on the attack again. Solid tackling from the Saints. They're going to have to do a lot of tackling in this second half. Already let 2 tries in and 2 conversions. But it's Leeds breaking quickly. Carl Gibson on this left wing. Goes in field, Large has him. Bailey forced Gibson to go in field. Schofield now, on to Bacco. Schofield again, attacking half-back, on to Ashton. Lyons, Powell. Fieldhouse and Dwyer banging to the ground. It's the last tackle of this set of 6. Lyons has a go for the drop goal. No goal, obviously worth a chance. So it's going to be a restart. Saints to tap out on their own 25. Mark Lee, there's the ball, drives upfield, flicks it back to Mark Bailey. Take it left to Roy Haggerty. But Lyons pinches the ball off him. Leeds back on the attack. On to David Heron. Ashton inside to number 2. Carl Gibson, but Lyons is still going. Taking it over to the right. Brute Cowden flicks it up, but the ball's loose. I don't know who that is. Bernard Dwyer, I think, is it? That has it? No, it was David Large, centre field. Obviously covering their centre field. But Saints certainly on the end of a 26 points to nil drubbing here at Headingley this afternoon. Bernard Dwyer on the break. Bacco comes in, second tackler. Dwyer bounce to the ground. Saints still pegged in their own 25. The ball back to Paul Loughlin. But Leeds are penalised for being offside at the play of the ball. Certainly a little bit of respite for the Saints team. So Loughlin now kicking for position. Hefty kick upfield. Finds touch right on the halfway line. Mark Lee to restart for Saints. Saints line deep. Mark Bailey. Cooper. Loop movement with Cooper. Does well, does Shane Cooper. But the ball's loose. Gibson tidies up. Certainly Saints with a lot of mistakes in today's game, and it's all a matter of who makes the fewer mistakes. There must be a knock on that. Saints not being able to capitalise on that knock forward, the loose ball from Lee Crooks. But as I was saying, it's just a matter of the team with the less mistakes, and nothing's gone right for Saints today, and everything's gone right for Leeds. They've certainly been quicker on the ball, and the handling been a lot better. Mark Bailey comes away from the base of the scrum. Cliff Lyons brings him down. Spencer comes in to complete the tattle. Bernard Dwyer straightens up, drives up centre field. Mark Lee, little chip kick. Yes, good kick from Mark Lee. Obviously going to try and keep this Leeds outfit in their own half, if possible in their own 25. Leeds line up with Saints not being able to penetrate the Leeds defence. Mark Lee chips through and finds touch on the Leeds 25. Goes to scrum down with a Leeds feed. One scrum each in the second half, and Ray Ashton to feed. Brooke Cowden going into the hooking position, but he couldn't get his head in. But Leeds come up with the ball. John Bassnett taking it over to the right, up centre field, but David Large comes in field, the ball's loose. Fieldhouse goes down for it, Ashton goes in with the knees. Spotted by the referee. Yes, nasty tattle there on John Fieldhouse. Crooks pleading probably that it was an instinctive reaction, but nothing instinctive about that at all. Saints awarded the penalty. Roy Haggerty drives upfield, 10 yards inside the Leeds half. Saints not yet on the scoreboard. Bernard Dwyer. Shane Cooper, change of direction onto Farber, knocks it down, scrum down inside the Leeds half. As I said, Saints just can't hold on to this ball at all. Well, Leeds completed the double over the Saints in last season's league programme. 24-21 they won here at Headingley, and run out 28 points to 23 winners at Nosey Road. Probably those first three matches in April against Wigan, Widnes and Leeds that certainly cost Saints the league championship last season. But Temper's just getting a little frayed round the scrum. Saints are penalised, Mark Bailey penalised for being offside at that scrum. Hefty kick there for touch, and finds touch 10 yards from the Saints 25. Hugh Waddell there bursting through. Brooke Cowden left to Ashton. Lyons, Medley linking up. Certainly been very forceful since he came on as substitute in the first half as Paul Medley. Well, Crooks there, obstruction there, surely should be a penalty that Crooks obstructing any chance of a Saints player to go down on that loose ball after the knock-on had been made. But it is a scrum down inside the Saints 25. It's Mark Bailey to feed. Mark Lee finally gets his head down. Saints come up with the ball, bring it blindside. But Leeds penalised for an infringement at the scrum, obviously in an offside position. Before the ball had come out at the base of the scrum, Phil Beavers finds touch. Just short of, well, bounces on top of all commentary position. Finds touch just 10 yards short of the halfway. John Fieldhouse, first man in. Fieldhouse first in, but he's taken over by some ferocious tackling into touch, right down in front of us here. The ball kicked out. Play should be allowed to go on. Yes, Bernard Dwyer tidies up. Comes up the blind side, Dwyer. Got to keep in field. Goes well, Bernard. Keeps in field. David Large attacked in half-back. Saints bring it left onto Mark Lee. Shane Cooper onto Roy Haggerty. Roy Powell looking for the interception there, but Haggerty played well. Cooper flicks it up onto Tony Burke. Saints now still in possession. Shane Cooper, lofted pass to Sean Allen, he can't gather it. Lions tidies up onto prop forward Sam Backo. Came on as a substitute in the second half. But Leeds quick on the break again. Mark Brute Cowden. Fieldhouse takes him down, but it's all Leeds. Cliff Lyons onto David Heron. Short ball to Powell into space. Beavers brings him down. Flicks it inside to Gary Schofield. The pass is ruled forward. Very quick there, that pass from Powell. With Schofield, he's always there on the shoulder. Any chance of a break, and you can bet Schofield will be looming up. Certainly a break there for the Saints. Scrum down rule just 5 yards outside the Saints 25. 16 minutes of the second half, 26 points to nil in Leeds' favour. Saints shoot the ball. Cooper now, lofted pass to Beavers, linking up, short ball to Loughlin. Looks as though he's took a knock in that tackle as Paul Loughlin. The ball comes to the right. Bernard Dwyer, solid tackling from Crooks and Heron. Sean Allen at dummy half. Not been in the game much, Sean Allen. Last couple of outings he's had has been in the forwards, and he certainly put in a superb display in the forwards. Roy Haggerty trying to pass it round the man, but he touched the Leeds man. All on. David Tanner can gather it. Looks as though he's going to roll into touch. Unlucky there. Awkward bouncing ball to David Tanner. He thought about picking it up, but must have caught his foot. It went further towards the Leeds line, finally running into touch. So it's a scrum in the Leeds 25. It's going to be a Leeds feed with the ball going in off David Tanner. Certainly the idea was right from Roy Haggerty. Tried to pass round the man, it hit the Leeds man and went forward. Ashton there. Feeds the ball. Leeds come up with the ball from the scrum. On to Ashton. Cooper completes the tackle. So Ashton now back in possession. Crooks. Fieldhouse takes him round the feet. Bernard Dwyer assists. But Hugh Waddell now coming through. Fieldhouse and Cooper in at the tackle. Certainly not having a lot of chances, the Saints today, but Sam Backo there coming onto that loose ball. But Leeds spread it quickly. Ashton, little chip kick through. Cooper covers very well. Beavers brings it left. Farber, Matt Lee, Farber for the loop. Onto Loughlin, but well marshalled there. Medley read that situation very well. Bounce Paul Loughlin to the ground. But Saints again. Paul Farber. Well lifted bodily. Bounce to the ground. Mark Bailey, Shane Cooper, lofted past the Fieldhouse. Gibson gets the loose ball onto Bassnett, but Beavers does well. Super tackle from Beavers. Saints handling certainly leaving a lot to be desired today, but Leeds on the attack again. They're certainly quick on the break. Only superb tackling from Phil Beavers prevented anything happening there. Well, play allowed to go on. Ray Ashton finally brought down the 25. The referee waves the tackle count clean. Another 6 tackles for Leeds to possibly make it count. Carl Gibson tries to dummy, goes off 1 foot, but solid tackling from Bernard Dwyer brings him down. Cliff Lyons leads with an overlap on the right. Leeds still in possession. Well, Medley again, that man Medley, but the ball's loose. Leeds man flicks it through his legs. When everything's going right for you, it just goes right, doesn't it? Spencer is the up and under on tobacco. Power into the line. No, he must be short. Brought down short, could possibly be on his back. No, he's short. Leeds are still in possession. Solid tackling from Saints there. Hold out firm. Back to Ashton. Rubbers through. Offside being ruled. The idea was right from Ashton, with Heron following it up, but offside being ruled by referee So Saints awarded the penalty halfway through the second half. Saints still on the scoreboard, trailing 14-0 at half-time. The 3rd minute of the second half and the 6th minute, 2 tries from Spencer and Medley, both converted by Schofield, and the score 26 points to 0 in Leeds' favour. Mark Bailey, Shane Cooper. Well, last season, as here at Headingley, Saints were trailing by 24 points to 3 at one spell. They finally came back to 24-21. They've only 20 minutes to try and pull this out of the bag, and it's certainly an uphill task. 26 points. Well, the ball's taken. Leeds back on the attack again. Good tackling over there. Loughlin, I think it is. No, Paul Farber. Paul Farber quickly over there, covering as the Leeds man stole the ball, and Leeds spread it quickly to the right. Scrum down on the Saints 25. Saints feed. Saints making another substitution now. Kevin McCormick coming back on, but the scrum's allowed to go on. Mark Bailey comes away from the base of the scrum. Roy Haggerty on his powerful penetrating runs, flicks it inside to Shane Cooper. Onto John Fieldhouse, play ruled on. Lofted pass to David Large, takes it well, has to come in field. Still going David Large, runs into John Bassnett. Gibson goes in with the knees, and Bassnett there. The man's on the ground, and Bassnett there bouncing him up and down. But the tackle count's ruled clear. Saints take it left. Farber, well taken by Paul Loughlin there, really did well. Phil Beavers showing the dummy, has to take the tackle. Cliff Lyons comes in, completes the tackle. Sean Allen on to John Fieldhouse. Flicks it back to Beavers. Lofted pass over to Mark Bailey. Overlap for Saints on the left, if they can just spread it quickly. Onto Bernard Dwyer, but it goes forward. Ray Ashton gathers the ball, he spreads it onto Cliff Lyons and leads her back on the attack. Change of direction inside to Hugh Waddell. Beavers takes him, Fieldhouse round the top. Sam Backo for Leeds. Brought down just inside the Saints half. Ashton spreading it right to Lee Crooks. Looking for the gap, Crooks. Gains a valuable 10 yards. Mark Brooke Cowden attacked in half-back. Over to Ashton, Leeds spreading it left. Lyons, quick ball there. Onto Bassnett. Gibson goes in field. Gibson gets the ball, but he can't hold it. Sean Allen quickly down on it. Dutch Saints back in possession. Onto David Large. Speedy wingman Large, not had much running chances, but he runs right into Sam Backo there, just 10 yards outside his own 25. Short flick up to Paul Farber. Both second rows for Saints, Farber and Haggerty, very little running chances. Well, very little running chances all through for the Saints. The Leeds are certainly put a defensive display up here. Mark Bailey taking it to the left. Roy Haggerty lurking on the left wing. Saints spinning it right. Fieldhouse, lofted pass taken by Bernard Dwyer. Inside to Beavers. Back to Bernard Dwyer. Lofted pass to David Large again, creating space there. Large tries to hand him off, but Bassnett, wily campaigner. Bassnett completes the tackle right in front of us. Big lad, this Bassnett. Cooper trying to get the Saints going. John Fieldhouse. Short ball to Mark Bailey. Interception there. Schofield. Still going Schofield. Can Beavers tackle him? Yes, Beavers just manages to complete the tackle. Certainly a try-saving tackle from Phil Beavers. It puts Leeds back on the attack. Breaking quickly to the left. Lee Crook, short ball to Spencer, linking up. Going in field, Spencer, yes! Under the sticks there. Spencer touches down his second try of the second half and the match. Well, that coming from another Saints mistake, and Leeds certainly capitalising on it. 30 points to nil. Saints trailing. It's a good while. You have to go back a good while before you can pick up Saints trailing by 30 points to nil. I remember quite a few years ago in the Premiership first round, I think it was, at Bradford, with Saints getting beat 30 points to nil. But you'll have to hunt through the record books for that. So Spencer finishing off there, linking up well with his back division. Surely just a formality now for Gary Schofield. Pop this one over right in front of the sticks. Yes, no problem. 32 points to nil now. Leeds in the lead, and no way back for Saints from this game. So Saints making 2 more substitutions, with Kevin McCormick coming back on for Paul Loughlin and Stuart Evans coming back on for Tony Burke. So both substitutions been allowed to be made. Just 13 minutes of this second half remaining. Phil Beavers now kicks off straight to Lee Crooks. Drives up the Leeds right wing. Mark Brooke-Cowden attacked in half-back. Loose ball, and it's going to be a knock-on. But the ball going down in the tackle. Unfortunately, most of the Saints players involved in the tackle there. The Leeds player coming through, Spencer it was, dropped on the loose ball, forcing a scrum down to the Saints feed. Bailey comes up, onto Cooper. Phil Beavers, David Tanner goes in field. Sean Holland now bursting through. The Saints having most of the scrum possession, 5-2 this second half, but not being able to do anything with it. Leeds certainly putting a great defensive game, and so quick on the attack as well. Mark Lee. Ball being charged down, knock on again with a Saints feed. Leeds player knocking on. Well, Leeds making a substitution now. Cliff Lyons being replaced. Leeds in possession. Roy Powell. Hugh Waddell, but a knock-on being ruled. I think that's David Stevenson as he come back on for Cliff Lyons. Wants to scrum down with the Saints feed, just 10 yards from the Leeds line. Referee speaking to both scrum halves. Saints feed, Mark Bailey comes up. Shane Cooper changes direction. Phil Beavers linking up. Onto Sean Allen. Out to David Large. Can he come in field? Leeds tackling numbers there. 3 of them come over very quickly. But Saints still in possession. Stuart Evans trying to drive in from short range. Shane Cooper. John Fieldhouse sees the gap, links it inside, but the Leeds man's there. The Leeds back in possession. On to Sam Bacco, coming blindside. He's lost the ball. Sean Allen now in possession for the Saints. On to Stuart Evans, going forward from acting half-back. Sean Allen, Phil Beavers, Shane Cooper, overlap for Saints on the left. Haggerty. The ball's lost. No. Saints are awarded the penalty for impeding Haggerty at the play of the ball. Much to the displeasure of the home crowd, but Saints elect to run it. Beavers, David Tanner going on the outside. Gibson and Brooke Cowden bring him down. Sean Allen straightens up, tries to drive forward. John Fieldhouse now for Saints. Trying to straighten up, driving for the line, brought down about 8 yards short. Barber at dummy half for Saints. There's the ball to himself, tries to drive forward. Onto Kevin McCormack. Solid tackling from Leeds. McCormack looked to know he was round his man on the far side. I think that was Mark Lee trying to grub her through, but right into the Leeds players' hands. So Leeds are back in possession, even though they're on their own try line. As we know, they're very dangerous in their own half. Break very quickly. Kevin McCormack receiving treatment over there on the far side. So it's temporarily down to 12 men. Brooke Cowden at dummy half for Leeds. On to Ray Ashton. Short ball to Crooks, on to Carl Gibson. Sean Allen does well. Takes his man round the legs. Backo driving through. Powerhouse forward. Well, that's the changeover. Hadn't noticed the referee indicating, but Saints receive the ball. Take it left. Paul Farber certainly looked one of Saints' best forwards this afternoon. Bernard Dwyer taking a knock in the tackle. It was Maskill that came on before for Cliff Lyons, and Maskill is over there. Obviously he's took a knock, but he's over there on the far side on the right wing for Leeds. Haggerty now. Well, Leeds take the ball. Schofield brought down on the halfway line. Kevin McCormack, obviously nursing an injury, manages to complete the tackle on Schofield, but Saints down to 11 fit men. McCormack over on the far side limping, and Bernard Dwyer receiving treatment centre field. Dwyer's back on his feet now. Crooks, short ball to Backo, but he gives it to John Fieldhouse. So it's Saints back in possession. Just 7 minutes of this game remaining. Stuart Evans driving upfield. Leeds still sticking to the task, keeping the Saints out. 32 points to nil in Leeds' favour. John Fieldhouse now. Well, can't hold the ball. Powell gets it back. Still going through Powell. Big forward, this lad. Takes some pulling down, but Beaver's in there at the tackle. Leeds in possession. On to Hugh Waddell. Schofield brings it left to Ashton. On to Heron. Short ball to Crooks. Creating space, Crooks. Lost the boot in that tackle. Replays it to Ashton, who goes through from acting half-back. Flicks it inside to Bassnett. Well, nothing in that tackle. He was ducking down Bassnett. Referee right on the job. Heron. Short ball to Backo. Last tackle of this set of 6. For Leeds, probably be an up and under here. Schofield going for the drop. Hits the post. Stuart Evans takes it well. Well, I don't know what happened there, but Stuart Evans just being allowed to play the ball. Fieldhouse, John Fieldhouse for Saints with it, still in their own 25. Very few chances for Saints for scoring, but Haggerty there on the break. Flicks it inside to David Tanner. David Tanner in space. Brought down centre field, getting the knees in the back from Lee Crooks. But Mark Bailey now. Saints in the Leeds half. Loses the ball. Powell comes up with it. Certainly not had the best of luck with the ball today, Saints. Just can't stick hold of it. Leeds back in possession. Ray Ashton showing the dummy. Gibson goes infield. Solid tackle from Farber there. As Brooke Cowden waits at the dummy half position. Takes it right to Waddell. Good running forward, this Waddell. Certainly punched holes in Saints' ranks this afternoon. Ashton, loop movement there with Heron, but Heron comes across to the left, onto Bassnett, ducks under Sean Allen's tackle, tries to flick it inside to Gibson, but Allen completes the tackle. Brooke Cowden onto Backhall, coming through at pace. Takes 3 Saints, Bernard Dwyer, John Fieldhouse and Stuart Evans to bring him to ground. It's the last tackle for Leeds. Onto Schofield, loop movement with Ashton. Schofield looking for the way through, flicks it inside to Powell, look to hint forward. It's on the last tackle, just got to get the man down. The ball's loose, Saints have the ball, would have been on the changeover, but Fieldhouse flicks it out to Mark Lee. Lofted pass to Mark Bailey. Kevin McCormick injured on the wing, so no good flicking it over to Kevin McCormick, but Bailey releases it, it goes directly into touch. Saints unable to do anything right this afternoon. Just 4 minutes of normal time remaining. I'm sure the majority of the Saints spectators here will be glad to see the end of this game. I certainly will for one. 32 points to nil, Saints are trailing. Saints feed, Bailey comes up with the ball. Onto Shane Cooper, lofted pass to David Tanner. He beats one, onto Sean Allen. Quick hands to David Large, in space. Carl Gibson's chasing him, but he does well, Large, he keeps him pinned. David Tanner onto Shane Cooper. Lofted pass to Bernard Dwyer, straightens up. Just short of the Leeds 25. Surely Saints' last chance for getting points on the board now. Sean Allen, lofted pass, well, rather ambitious pass that from Sean Allen to David Large. Goes directly into touch, so it's a Leeds feed from the scrum that's just going to be formed inside the Leeds 25. Mark Bailey tidies up from that scrum. Leeds feed, but Saints come up with the ball. Bernard Dwyer trying to go through the gap, trying to release to Stuart Evans coming up in support, but solid Leeds tackling to hold firm. Saints moving it left. Beavers overlap on the left for the Saints, quick hands, but it's charged down by Medley. Forward on the right side, is it Medley or is it Spencer? Yeah, it's Medley. Forward on the right side here, quick hands, overlap on the left for Saints, but Medley did well. Certainly played well, Paul Medley, since coming on in the first half as a substitute for David Stevenson. Saints took the ball onto Shane Cooper, lofted ball to Sean Allen. Solid tackle there from Cal Gibson. The ball now with Mark Bailey. Cooper onto Roy Haggerty, lurking on the right. Offers the dummy, tries to go through himself. Leeds don't take it. Crooks and Heron complete the tackle. Mark Bailey, Beavers, quick hands there. Quick hands essential. Knock on being ruled. A quick ball to John Fieldhouse, he couldn't gather it. The ball goes to ground. So a scrum's going to be formed in the Leeds 25. Ashton to feed. The ball goes with the feed. Dwyer quickly round. And brings scrum half Ashton down. But it's Leeds now, quickly on the break. Spencer, I think that is linking up. No, it was Medley. But he passes inside to Sean Allen. Quick break onto Shane Cooper. John Fieldhouse now, Saints in possession. Onto Paul Farber. Certainly deserves a try for his efforts this afternoon, Paul Farber. Stuart Evans, Saints moving it to the left. Cooper. Rather loose ball for Cooper's standards. Onto Bernard Dwyer. To Roy Haggerty. Off 1 foot. Takes it left. Takes it right, I beg your pardon. Feeds inside to Mark Bailey. Mark Lee going for the line, onto Cooper. And there's the full-time hooter right on the 40th minute. Obviously no stoppage time in this second half. The crowd pour onto the pitch. Saints go down by 32 points to nil. certainly a good hiding today for the Saints, one of the worst defeats I've experienced lately, and obviously Saints lacking a bit of power play upfield. Leeds capitalising on the Saints' mistakes, so running out by 32, losers by 32 points to nil. So on behalf of Saints Rugby Club, Peter Tushingham Photography, Brian Pears, your regular cameraman, myself, Ron Hoof, I bid you farewell from Headingley, and I hope you'll join us again next week at Nosey Road, where we entertain Wakefield, the current leaders of the First Division.